So Friday's the day, back to school. August 1st, is that the earliest we've ever started?
I think for us it has been the
Yeah.
earliest. What's unique is the fact that it's on a Friday. That's odd, but at the same time, this was approved a couple of years ago with our board approving our calendar, and so we are seeing this as an opportunity for students to come see what school is going to be about, and we'll start fresh on that Monday.
But the way the calendar may work out in years to come, is there ever a chance that school would start actually in July 30th, 31st?
It just depends on what it looks like as far as when we're approving the schedule and the calendar.
Because I know Marlboro County is back today.
Right, and some schools in the Charleston area are starting this week as well.
So what have you heard about that? I mean, I remember when it was being talked about, before it was voted on and approved, there was a lot of pushback from the community saying, this is going to cause this problem, that problem. But then once it was put in place and people got the October week out and the February week out, it seems like the disapproval of it kind of disappeared a little bit. So what are you finding?
I'd like to think that the opportunity in October as well as February presented a time for our teachers to refresh, our staff to refresh, but even more importantly for our students to have an opportunity to refresh and be prepared going into the next 9 weeks, because each break is built as in a transition into the next 9 weeks.
So do you foresee this is going to continue? I mean, from here on out?
It would be at the will of our board, but right now we are moving in that direction.
What's going to be new Friday? I know there's going to be emphasis on a lot of things, but is there anything brand new for this year that wasn't in place this past year?
This school year we have an extra emphasis on things that have been shared with you, including our initiatives for a vape-free environment. We are encouraging students to make wise choices regarding health and safety, and we're also focusing on safety in regards to having an anti-bullying campaign with our students, our reporting procedures, and encouraging stakeholders to report, knowing that it will be anonymous, but surely report so that we can have an impact on controlling that and making next steps.
Let's go back to the vaping first. We posted your letter you sent to parents this past week. Some of the comments that we saw on the Facebook page is from people saying that it's a little too strict for first offense being caught with a vape, 3 days out of school. What do you say to those parents who think that might be a little too harsh?
At the end of the day, we want a progressive discipline plan. We want our consequences to ensure that our students are learning from the decisions they're making. Our committee did compare to other districts in our neighboring districts and within our state, and they too are making a progressive plan, similar in some or even more stringent. So we feel that this was appropriate, and the consequences matched the offense. And it's important to also note that for students, it is illegal. So we want to make sure that we are helping our students to make wise decisions and decisions that can impact their health.
Now, I know you're going to try to set up ways to monitor the most problematic areas like bathrooms and things like that. That's going to be, is that a change from last year?
It's a heightened effort. I won't say that it is a change, but as a committee, we came together and we determined where are those areas and how can we heighten supervision and enforce the consequences. So one of the things is looking at those areas where we do see a heightened increase in offenses.
And I think one thing they talked about in the safety committee, or it might have been at a board meeting, is that the bathrooms, I don't know if it's middle and high school, but bathrooms now have monitors in the ceiling or something that detect vape. And what is that? Does it set off an alarm in the bathroom or notify the front desk? Or
right. It's very similar to that of a fire alarm that you would see customarily in homes. It is called a halo sensor, and it does detect vape odors or vaporizers, as well as loud noises or things of that nature. While we do not know the full effects of what vaping can cause, we do know that we have had medical emergencies that can be attributed to use of vaporizers. So we want our students to make wise decisions again, and those decisions that will not negatively impact their health.
Bullying, you said that's going to be a thing that you try to make sure, at least reduces this year. How do you plan to do that?
Our counselors, our team came together and we discussed how can we incorporate it into our younger grades. So we will have efforts within our younger grade levels to incorporate it into school lessons. There will be efforts to have signage, things of that nature for students. As we progress into our next grade levels, we will continue with that as well. We've purchased curricula that will help us with that as far as preventative measures in regards to bullying. On the converse of that, we also have added more measures so that reporting of bullying can be done, and we want to encourage our parents, our stakeholders to use those measures to report, and our administrators are more aware of the steps to follow as well as follow up to ensure that we have the full wraparound services regarding this.
Now, anti-bullying campaigns have been going on for a long time.
Correct.
Do you feel that they've been effective? Is bullying, less of a problem now than it used to be back in years gone by?
Mm-hmm. I won't say that it's less of a problem or more of a problem. I think it is a different type of problem. As we look at cyberbullying and social media, things that students have access to certainly can contribute, and it comes into the school system as a result of what's happening through social media or cyber measures.
Has that made the fight harder because of social media? I mean, we didn't have that back when I was growing up. We had bullying, but it was on campus or on the bus, when you saw each other. Mm-hmm. Now they can carry it home and do it, all night and all weekend.
Right. Our controls are lessened, but we'd like to think as well that by having the cell phone policy, we can have more restrictions into the accessibility of cell phones and social medias and the negative impact that it has within the school day.
Let me ask you about the cell phone. You've just finished the first year of, no cell phones, in class. How did it go? Because we heard, about halfway through the year that students actually liked it.
Believe it or not, I received positive feedback from several students. At first, of course, it was the expectation or anticipation that it was going to be negative. But after having several conversations with students, they said that they found themselves more actively engaged in their classes. Interestingly, they're communicating with their peers more during lunchtime or during transition time. There's more communication. So we did see an advantage or an increase to engagement and positive communication by not having cell phones.
I was going to see a video from like a school lunchroom, in the days that they were allowed to have the cell phones in this past year, because, I'm sure before this year, most of the students had their heads down, clicking on their phone the whole lunch period. Now, this past year, they were actually talking to each other.
They're having conversations, and it's healthy conversations. So we're excited about that, and we want to encourage our students to continue that positive momentum.
And attendance, let's talk about that. I know there's been a big emphasis this summer talking about, what's going to be expected starting Friday. Has attendance been a big problem in the district?
Post-pandemic, we have seen a decline in student attendance.
Is that mainly high school level, or
it's nationwide? Okay. Actually, it's not just unique to Georgetown County School District. But when we focus in on it in Georgetown, we do notice, especially at the high school level, we have students that were not aware of seat time requirements. In our block scheduling, students still have to have 120 hours minimum for each of their classes. So attendance matters. There are seat time requirements. And again, this is not just Georgetown County, this is state law. And we want to ensure that our students are successful by being in attendance every day. And regardless of what the law says, it is very important that students have direct instruction from their teachers to have the most beneficial educational experience possible.
Now, the amount of time expected to be in a seat varies depending on the length of the course. I'm talking about for high school here.
Correct.
So where online can people find, what is expected for each course their child may have?
So there are attendance matters flyers. It's on our website. It's been posted as well to our social media. And again, look for seat time requirements, and it's all under attendance matters and attendance guidelines.
Now, one thing is, if you miss 10 days, you're I guess that's the most you can miss. But if you hit day 11, day 12 of missing for one reason or another, there are ways to make it up.
There are ways to make it up. Students can make it up. It has to be outside of the daily instructional plan, so it would have to be after school or even on a Saturday school opportunity. So there are times to make up days. We're also having a discussion about whether we can offer time during our break time, our fall break, as well as our midwinter break. So we're trying to make it feasible for everyone, but ultimately we want our students in attendance daily to the extent possible.
So let me ask you about magnet schools in the Carvers Bay attendance area. We're into what, year number 3 of them?
Correct.
And of a 5-year, at least guaranteed, term of it. Do you think they'll continue after the 5 years? How do you feel your magnet schools have been going?
The key with magnet schools is that the opportunities we've had as a result of being a part of the MSAP grant, we are looking to sustain those things. Professional development learning opportunities by our teachers, the purchases we've been able to make to enhance our campuses, we will be able to keep that. So our goal is beyond the grant itself, the learning, the teaching, the sustainability, that's our goal.
But will they still be magnet schools?
They will still be able to be magnet schools.
Okay.
It's just a matter of sustaining those things.
Plantersville Elementary School. We hear, every time, not every time, but every few years, it comes up as a possibility, of looking at possibly closing because of the size. What do you think about that? Is that something that should continue to be studied, or what do you think?
With schools such as Plantersville, we're seeing this statewide. We're having to make difficult decisions. We have to be financially responsible. I was just at Plantersville on Saturday for an event, and there are some things that do not tie to finances, and seeing the excitement and seeing what our students are able to do and the community come together. All of that has to be factored in when making these types of decisions. So we'll continue to review everything in order for us to make the best informed decision, not just for Plantersville, but for all of our schools.
Now I'm looking behind you, I see the book by Don Stanley, and I see the Candace Parker book. That lets us know how big of a basketball fan you are. Of course, you were a coach, and you use that talent that you have. Every Friday, you'll start in September, going back to this, but every Friday you have a free throw with students, and this has turned out to be widely popular in the district. It's been a way that you've been able to connect with the students, on their level. They get to play basketball with a pro, and and then you have a chat session with them to talk about what they feel about school, things they would like to see happen. First of all, why did you start this? And just tell us about how you feel about how successful it has become.
This came about through trying to find ways to have non-threatening conversations with our students, ways that they would open up and have just general conversations with me. I began to think about what happens typically on the weekends for students who are not necessarily the athlete, but everyone for the most part has a basketball goal somewhere in the neighborhood, and you'll have just round robin basketball opportunities, and then you find people having conversations. So again, it bridged from that, and I'm delighted by the popularity of it, because again, you come in initially thinking that I'm going to learn how to shoot free throws, or it's going to be a competition, but truly I'm able to get data points for what we need to do to improve our schools. And much of what we will see this year, believe it or not, the salad bar conversation came from a Free Throw Friday conversation. Discussions about vaping, discussions about cell phones, all of that came from what we talked about during Free Throw Friday.
Now, how do you decide which schools to do each Friday? How does that work?
So right now we're only doing our middle and our high school students. Elementary has asked, but right now it's middle and high school students. We ask our principals to nominate or select students, and we don't want the students that are going to come in because they're basketball players, but we truly want students that need this opportunity to share and to be open and want their voices heard.
And about how many students are there each Friday?
Between 8 and 10 students each Friday per school.
You keep it kind of small so you can get the one-on-one
Correct.
conversation with
We
them.
need one-on-one opportunities. And what you may not be aware of is that at the end of the year, we brought all of the schools together in one session, and we brought in some guest free throwers that are from the area that have a stake in Georgetown County School District. And not only did they bring their basketball skills, but they brought in insight as to how their educational experience was and how they can help impact future decisions by our students.
Now, you mentioned the salad bar. I guess I'll wrap up with this because I just think it's kind of cool. When we posted that story last week, it opened up memory lane for a lot of people, saying that, no, I remember like in 1982 to 85, we had a salad bar. So salad bars have happened in the past, and but now it's going to be the first time that all 4 high schools have them at the same time.
And I think the key is that the salad bar, we've always had salad offerings, but the actual salad bar, to the extent that we will have the vegetables and the meats and the choices, will be expanded. And again, it's key that all 4 high schools will have this opportunity. Not all 4 high schools had salad bars. They had salads, but they did not have a bar. And again, that came about through Free Throw Fridays, and we brought the conversation back to business services and food services, and we are able to make this happen.
Well, very good. What else do you want people to know as we get ready to start the new year Friday?
We want everyone to bring a positive mindset, to come with excitement that we are going to achieve even greater on this school year. We know that there are things that we need to work towards, but it only can happen if we are working together to achieve those. So we're excited. We'll continue to focus on academic achievement, number 1, but we realize that arts, athletics, they play a crucial part as well. So we'll continue to support the efforts of our students in their extracurricular activities as well.